Hello and welcome to Faith, Friends, and Hustle, a podcast where my friends and I share insights, stories, and all things about the relationships and ambitions that they have going on. Today, I have Chamberlyn Smith with me. Chamberlyn, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Zach.
Yes, excited. Thank you for joining us. And for our listeners who may not know you, just briefly share a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, my name's Chamberlyn Smith. I am a realtor here in Texas. That's how I met Zachary. He was my coach for a while. Um, and since then, that was a couple years ago, my life has shifted. Earlier this year, just actually in February, I lost my brother he actually took his own life. And that led me I won't say that led me because I feel like the Lord led me to use that pain in my life to start this nonprofit for suicide awareness. So that's kind of a little bit about me there.
Yeah, it's such a travesty when you hear things like this, and there's no amount of words that could bring comfort other than the Lord, right? When we go through it. But as we know, God can do, uh, things from ashes can grow and turn into other beautiful things, and the Lord will make it for good when we're there. And of that, I was excited when I was talking to you, and you were discussing to me a little bit about this hunt for peace, which we'll be talking about today of when you come and what that looks like when it comes through there. So tell us just about the mission and the core goals of Hunt for Peace. What kind of impact do you hope to make in the community?
Um, yeah, I think that it kind of started when people reach out and they kind of start sharing their stories and they're like, wow, I was in a really dark place, but you opened up, you were willing to share kind of the pain you were going through, and it really made me reflect. And honestly, like, it saved my life. I had multiple people reach out to me and I was like, wow, if me just sharing one raw video can have that domino effect on so many other people that are also struggling. I was like, I mean, even if it just reaches one person, that's one more life that we saved. um, and so I think that was really the driving factor behind that. Um, and then it was like, how do you start? How do you put together a mission? How do you do a nonprofit? All the things. It's overwhelming. So just in general, like, the community has been super supportive. I've had several people reach out and help me kind of get things going. And then that's just kind of, I just really am like, that's my drive, is just helping one more person. If that's all we can do, then I would call that a success.
I love that so much. So what's your vision for Hunt for Peace going forward? You're now through kind of the startup, you're in it. I've seen your content online of where you go through. What does your vision look like?
So my vision would be for Hunt for Peace to be a place that people can come to as a resource if they're struggling. So we're going to be starting support groups pretty soon where people can come, just have a safe place to share, meet other people that are kind of struggling as well, and just know that they're not alone in this. Because if you actually kind of dig into and talk to people, it really does seem like the main factor that people, are thinking about taking their own life. They're just lonely or they don't have a purpose. And so really, that's something that I think everyone struggles with at one point or another, is like, what's my purpose in life? So my vision is to help other people discover their purpose and their reason for being here. Um, and then, go out and impact, their life, and then have that domino effect on other people as well.
Yeah. How has faith played a role in that?
I think faith is a huge role because I think as I'm doing this and as I'm bringing in more people, I really am trying to like look at things through the lens like that Jesus or God would, where it's like people are struggling and they need that hope and that support. And so bringing them, the option of faith if they don't already have it, or bringing them closer to God through that, that's going to be the ultimate way that they find peace and purpose in their life, is to, rely on God to help and guide them, just like I have throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, it's something outside of yourself.
100%.
I think the minute we go internal or we look to solve our own problems, can really run into some walls, right? With just the limitations of what we believe, what our past experiences are.
Yes, 100%. It's like if you're if you want to go somewhere fast, go alone. If you want to get there, you go together.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it's so important. And we're called to, right, as members of believers in faith and through God to be in community. I think for that reason, right? The enemy is real, it's lurking. We're told that it's around. And so I think God knows that yes, he is enough sufficient in prayer and being with, and we weren't meant to be alone, right? We were meant to do it in community.
yes. And that is community is the key. And that's something that we've lost during COVID. And I think that's something the devil uses a lot. I've seen it myself throughout this whole situation where my friends, they'll say silly things to me throughout this process. And I'm like, why would you say something? I'm like, they would never say something. That's the devil's using the people that closest to you if they can't get to you directly
Yeah.
to
And so
create that division, because if you go together, he can't stop you.
yeah,
You might know this actually off the top of your head. It's Ecclesiastes, and I don't remember the exact verse, but it's like a cord of three strands cannot be easily broken.
yes. Yeah, I would have to look it up, but yes, I'm familiar with what you're talking about. But we're also looking at, right? Um, you even think about how like a lion hunts, and we're told that the devil's like a lion and hunting, waiting to devour you, right? They wait for you to be alone. And so hunt for peace, and part of that is getting people in the community. So what are some of the practical ways that you're doing that? You've talked about community. You said maybe you're going to have some small groups sessions started. What does that look like day to day for you?
So day to day, the we're in very beginning stages, but the plan is to have at least one meeting a week. And then as we grow, we're going to have sub communities. But right now, we'll have like we'll meet together. We'll have like an inspirational word or things to start it off, like a Bible verse or something. And then we'll split into men and women's groups, just so everyone feels safe in that. Um, and then we do have we have volunteer for a veterans group. When we have more interest in that, we can start a veterans group. I mean, the possibilities are endless, but we just have to start and then see where God takes it from there. But so the plan is to we have a building here in Crowley. We'll come in here, we'll meet, we'll just provide that safe space to create friends. And then I've also been in touch with some local businesses that are wanting to help us as well, do like some community fun days. So my thing is like, you make friends the fastest if you share a common interest. So if we can do like a pickleball or like a Dungeons and Dragons day where people that have those interests can meet, and then friendships just form naturally that way.
Yeah, meeting people where they're at.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then dividing it by interest. So are you doing this alone, or have you started other people along on the journey helping you out?
Yes. So I could not do this alone. I've dragged pretty much anybody who has talked to me the past month has gotten drug into this. So my dad and my stepmom, as well as my mom, are helping me. And then, so Spencer was my brother's best friend. He's helping me a lot on the podcast side of things. Um, and then Kate is kind of doing behind the scenes, like social media work, clerical work. Kate was one of his other best friends. So it's definitely brought us all closer together through all of this, because I didn't really know Kate at all before this, and I'd only hung out with Spencer a few times. So getting close to the people that were close to him has been really nice to hear the stories, and we all share this common goal together. Like, we don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Yeah. So I can only imagine, you mentioned in the beginning the hurdles and challenges that come with doing something like this in the midst of healing. And my wife lost her brother, and she had said it multiple times. I don't know if you ever really heal, right? Maybe it's tempered slightly,
Hmm.
but same thing, losing a sibling, she's never going to fully heal from that. There's certain challenges and healing that you're going through when you're developing it. So if someone else has a passion or desire to help and serve in this way, what is some of the advice? Like, what challenges do they need to be aware of, and how would you recommend helping? What resources?
Um, I will say it's probably a little controversial, but I have used AI through a lot of this. Uh, Definitely check the sources. It's not foolproof, but, just asking it, how do I start a nonprofit in Texas? How do I need to word bylaws? Like all the things. And then you have a lawyer or whoever review it. But the biggest hurdle for me initially was just the red tape of the paperwork and filing and getting everything legit. And we're still not completely out of the woods. Like we're filed with the state, but we still have to go to the IRS and apply for 501c. So it's not a short process at all. But if you don't want to start a nonprofit, you just want to do some community outreach, then I would say go for it. It could be as simple as hosting a Bible study for your neighborhood, um, or you're at your work doing a Bible study, um, just reaching out. And I think that the most important thing is listening to that still small voice in your head, that is God pushing you in the direction He wants you to go. It could be something like He wants you to talk to a random person at a coffee shop. Well, you have no idea how that one person could impact your day, or you could impact their day. And so if you ever get that urge or that gut feeling, like just listen to God and go talk to that person, or give to that person. If you hear, like, maybe someone's in need and you don't know why, you just feel compelled to give them something, just listen.
I love that. It's so important when you have it. It reminds me, there's a book and a quote that I always like going to. It's from Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott. And it's not a Christian book, but however, I think it shares a lot of Christian values and when they talk, right? I think Jesus had a lot of fierce conversations. It was done with love, it was done with care, but it was direct, right? And a lot of
Yeah.
truth was spoken during the ministry. And so from Fierce Conversations, Susan Scott, so while no single conversation is guaranteed to change the trajectory of a career, a company, a relationship, or a life, any single conversation can. So I think it's so
Yes.
impactful what you said of just taking the time, right? The feeling that nudge from the spirit and acting on it.
Yes, I think that. And I think a little bit, get out of your own way, get out of your own head. Like if you feel compelled to do something, don't question it. Because I tend to be a very logical person. And I'm like, I don't even know that person. Why would I go talk to them? But I found, like, as I'm listening and as I'm being a good steward, to the Lord, I'm like, wow, that really filled me up today.
Yeah. So if you're struggling with mental health, or maybe you know someone that is, Chamberlain, what message of hope or encouragement would you like to share with them today?
I think that a message of encouragement. I think everyone is at a different point in their life and what they need to hear. I think something I could give that's just kind of basic and been helpful for me is that you are enough. You're not alone. Even if it feels like it right now, you have a God that loves you. You have friends and family that love you. And at the end of the day, there is no shame in reaching out. And in fact, it's probably the bravest thing you can do to reach out, share your struggles, and build that community around you. Because that community around you will be like the walls of Jericho, and they will protect you in your weak moment. And if you love someone and you know they're struggling and you don't know how to help them, a lot of times just listen, just sit with them, take them out to a movie, have some fun time with them, let them know that they're not alone. Don't push them to share. They'll share when they're ready. But just checking on them could mean so much. That could be the one conversation that you have to change someone's trajectory, like we talked about.
Someone wants to help get involved and is filled from the spirit to move and assist. How can they get in touch and help with Hunt for Peace and get involved?
So our website is huntforpeace.com. All one word, no periods or anything like that. And then on there is contact information or info@huntforpeace.com. You can email me as well. If you have a story you want to share, I'd be happy to sit down and talk with you, or just, everyone has something to bring to the table. So I'm definitely open and willing to talk to anybody who wants to help or wants to start outreach in their own community. Like, I would love to help anybody.
I love that so much. Chamberlain, thank you for sharing your story. your drive and vision to help others so this doesn't happen to those around us that we love and care, and just preventing one. What amazing work you're doing. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been hard, you know, there's some days that you don't want to get out of bed, but you got to keep going.
Yeah,
So, yeah, definitely the healing, it doesn't, it changes. It doesn't get better. It just changes, I think.
well said. Everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Chamberlain's information will be in the show notes, so you'll be able to find all those resources if you're able to look at it. Chamberlain, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you,
Till next
Zach.
time.